This is the Beef Podcast, presented by Beefy Marketing.
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of the Beef Podcast. I'm your host, as always, John Kelly, a.k.a. Jon the Marketer on Instagram. Make sure you're checking us out over there because we really are getting serious about TikTok, Instagram, Reels, all that kind of stuff. We've been trying to publish some funny personal videos, some good marketing videos for you. Instagram is going to Reels, man. The day of just putting out regular posts are gone. You've got to make video content. We're here for it. We're creating all the time. We love it behind the scenes. But today on the show, I've got Jon and Tamara Hamilton with Just Love Coffee joining me here in the studio in Tomball, Texas, right next door to where their store is located, here on the Tomball Cypress border, if you will. If you haven't stopped in, you have to stop in. They brought us drinks for the podcast. If more podcast guests did this, I think it'd be a lot better, you know?
You gotta have caffeine.
Yeah, right. Drinking my little white chocolate tiramisu. You said this is the biggest selling coffee item that you have in your shop?
It is. And what's very interesting is we are franchised, and corporate reached out to us and they said, you guys don't sell any house coffee at your location. All you sell is white chocolate tiramisus. And I'm like, well, of course, I'm going to sell a $6 coffee all day long before I sell a $2 coffee. That's my goal. That's my plan. They're like, what do you do? We just upsell it.
There you go.
We just offer it. It's good coffee. It's great coffee.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Extremely happy to have y'all. I've been in your store a couple of times, you know, and y'all are huge supporters of local first responders. Y'all are veteran owned as well. So what a great cause to be a part of. You know, we tell it here on the Beef Podcast all the time that branding is a connection with your audience, and it's the story behind your business that definitely makes your business successful. More than just having a good product or a good service, you got to have a good story and a good background. And I think y'all have that. Y'all have been friends with and neighbors with my sister for a while.
We've
gotten to know y'all, and y'all are good people, good restaurant. You got some great employees in there, and I'm just excited to kind of get into it today and talk about that. Plus, I mean, this tastes pretty good. I don't know. I like it. So
it's good stuff.
It's great.
Always happy to have someone on that, you know, I like their product. It's a little easier to talk about it. So we start out with an icebreaker question, though. Every single episode that we do. Today's icebreaker question: what is something, think adventurous or like crazy, that you always thought about doing, but you never came around to getting done?
Your answer is probably way different than mine.
And I can start it off because I was thinking
Crazy
about
for
this.
me is I've always wanted to jump out of an airplane.
Exactly mine.
I watch it and it looks amazing, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
I know that I would pay the money to get up there in the air, and I would
then
I would
fly
just
back down.
out. I just couldn't do it. Now I would love to go up there and watch other people do it, and the experience looks amazing. I'm just too chicken.
That was the
Just
one that
too
I had chosen. Like, that was my exact answer, was skydiving. It's something, I grew up in Waller, and we had a skydiving place there in Waller. I don't know if it's still there or not on the golf course there, but it used to be there.
Yeah, I think
Houston
it's gone.
Skydive
I don't
or
know if it's
something.
there
Yeah.
anymore, is it?
And man, it is something I've always thought about doing, and I've just never gotten around to it. I'm crazy enough that I probably would, but I'm not going to lie. That is one thing that scares the heck out of me.
Right. Well, George Bush did it, right?
Oh, did he?
Remember the old man, George Bush, the father, not too long ago before he died, didn't he skydive with the...
Probably.
I think he did.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was in Katy or somewhere now.
Okay. That makes
believe,
sense.
but
Yeah.
Me,
Texas.
I think I just would like to show up at an airport one day with no baggage, just driver's license and a credit card, and just randomly pick a destination and go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know that pick a destination is the right word. I think just
Like,
just
have it
say
randomly.
what's on,
Just throw a dart at a map and
yeah,
go.
or what's
Yeah.
on sale today. You know,
What's
Des
on sale?
Moines. or
Fuel
somewhere.
prices, I don't think anything's for
I don't
sale
know,
right now.
you know, just go and just get a hotel wherever you show up and buy some clothes wherever you show up and just find. I don't know. It just sounds like something kind of.
That's
cool
out
to
of
do.
my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But that's why we're married. We feed off each other.
So
that's
you're the
good stuff.
planner. You've
I
got to
am.
have it all
She
laid
is,
out.
definitely.
I'm also the
planner.
baggage, so I couldn't go on that trip. I would have to stay at home.
See, I think, was that in a movie or a TV show, something like that occurred where it's like, hey, you know what? Let's just go to the
go.
airport and just have them select
Probably
a
a movie or
destination
something,
for
I
us.
feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool though. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what is your next flight out
Right.
of this state?
Yeah.
Whether
I'm on
it's
it.
out of the
Right.
country
They
or
show
out
up
of
at 8:00 and hey, what leaves at 9 and where?
Yep.
I don't.
See, I
care,
could do
you
that.
know? Yeah.
I could 100%.
Yeah.
I'm the same way as you. I'm that, like, we just took a trip for work, and it was a fire department training that we were going to. and it was called The Art of Reading Smoke. Really cool class, but it was in Bastrop, and not far from Bastrop is San Marcos and the Guadalupe and Comal and all that stuff. So we were like, hey, let's go to San Marcos and let's float the river. Yeah. And we started trying to plan, and we were like, we'll come up with like this little $60 bus that you can take down there, go float, get back on the bus, come back to the hotel, all that stuff. And then the day of, it just turned into, well, we're just going to drive down there and figure it out when we get there. And it worked out without a hitch. Everything was perfect.
I mean, they got so much to do in that area too.
Yeah. But I'm definitely that last minute guy. Like, I think you find some of the best adventures in life without any planning.
Yeah.
My wife hates it. She's not like that at all. She's the one that needs it a month in advance so that she can make sure.
So we can fit the maximum amount of funness into our limited availability.
That's it.
Yep,
well,
that's all me.
The whole reason we're here, though, is to talk about y'all, where you came from, how you got into entrepreneurship, why you chose Just Love Coffee, and let's just kind of get into that stuff and share what you want to share.
Absolutely. Well, I started in restaurant business when I was 14 years old. I worked at Battleground Speedway racetrack, and that's not what it's called anymore. But I got paid $100 a day to be a burger cook. There's like 20 windows. I was the only burger cook, and they would call. I was 14 years old, so they were paying me cash under the table. And they were calling out, I need a burger, extra mayo, no onions, side to let it. Just coming at me. And from that moment, I fell in love with the fast pace and just the energy of the food service business. Then I ended up going and working for pizza delivery at 18 when I turned 18. It was good money and worked around my school schedule. And ended up with Papa John's in 1998 and retired from them 2 years ago. So 21 years I was with them and worked my way up from a delivery driver to a senior partner and their director of training and recruiting. Owned some company stock, worked for some amazing, amazing people. Frank Carney, the founder of Pizza Hut, was one of our main owners, and I learned so much from him. Keith Sullins, I'm sure you've heard the name, all over Houston. He was our president of Papa John's, and amazing mentor as well. And when he put me in the position, he said, I'm going to put you in a job that you're not ready for, and you're going to have to figure it out.
Wow.
And I'm just going to throw you in the fire. And I learned, and I grew, and I fell in love with the restaurant business. But after 22 years, I just wanted to do something different. And Jon and I got married, 9 years ago?
That's right.
And we have his, mine, and ours. I have a 21-year-old. He has a 19-year-old, and then we have an 8-year-old. And it has been an absolute crazy journey. And we built a new home in the same neighborhood your sister lives in, right across the street. And there's this little shopping strip in the middle of our neighborhood that had nothing. It had a dentist and an orthodontist, and that was it. The Taekwondo studio wasn't there yet either. And it had a drive-through little window that landlord had put the drive-through window in, and we drove by it all the time. And I said, man, there's nothing to eat around here other than Timo's tacos, which are amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Timo's drive-through tacos. If you haven't had those, you got to get some. But we kept saying, we need something there. We need something there. We need something there. He's like, we're not building a row. I'm like, yeah, let's. He goes, what are we going to build? All you know how to do is pizza. And our pizza franchise in Houston expanded into First Watch breakfast restaurants, some Shipley Donuts, Firehouse Subs, and Genghis Grill when it was around. So I dipped in a couple of different, food services and learned some different things. And I love coffee. Like I literally just love coffee.
Yep.
And it's something that keeps me going every day. It's something you can talk to your friends over, and you sit down with your girlfriends and you have a coffee, or you get up Sunday morning and you go have a breakfast and a coffee with your kid. And we just happened to come by the concept. We were camping. We're big campers. And that came from him. I had a job, so I don't have to sleep outside. Like that's my mentality. That's why I went to work every day. And his family grew up camping, and you guys had some great experiences.
Right.
And he said, let's buy a fifth wheel after we got married. I said, what? You're crazy. I don't want to do that. I want to stay in a hotel where they come change my towels for me.
It was a hotel. Hotel on wheels.
I ended up falling in love with it.
It was a glamper.
It was for sure. We weren't roughing it by any means. But we go sit outside the campfire and roast marshmallows, have a bourbon, and just sit out and watch the stars. And we would take quick little weekend trips. And it was just a way to build our family and to kind of try to blend our family together.
Yeah.
Well, the 21-year-old and 19-year-old, they had nothing. They didn't want anything to do with camping. They had video games. That's all they want. but the 8-year-old little guy, Wyatt, he loved it. So we continued doing that for a long time. And we were on the way back from a trip coming through the Austin area, and we stopped. There's a Just Love in Georgetown, Texas.
I love Georgetown.
And we stopped in there because the parking lot was big. It's a big Target parking lot. So we could fit the big camper in the parking lot. And so we could go in and get something to eat. And we went in there. I was like, this is amazing. The food was great. The atmosphere was great. The coffee was amazing. And typically, we have learned that you find a great restaurant with amazing food or an amazing coffee shop with great coffee but terrible food. It's hard to get them both together.
Yes.
So we looked at the brand. We looked online. We kind of watched them for a little bit. They're only 25 stores right now. They're not a big company yet. They have a lot in the works, and they're growing really quickly. But I knew the franchise business. And if I had to sit down and come up with all the menu and concept, not that I don't have time for that, they just had already done it so much better than I could have.
Done. Yeah.
They absolutely had done it so much better than I could have. And we were on a bourbon trip, very planned out, by the way, just so you know, down to the day. And we took a group of people. Papa John's was headquartered out of Louisville, Kentucky. So I traveled up there all the time to bourbon country for work. Well, I gave him, for our anniversary, a bourbon trip. And I took him up there and gave him the works and took some friends with us. And we said, you know what? They're based out in Nashville, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Let's cancel our flight home. Let's just show up at their corporate headquarters. Let's just go show up out there and see what they've got. And we called them. They're like, come on in. And they were gracious hosts.
Oh, yeah.
The nicest people. And the more we researched the brand,
better off it was like icing on the cake.
Right.
Yeah.
The better off it got.
Yeah, it just kept getting better and better and better.
The story behind it, and we sampled. So the original store is kind of in a warehouse location. Murfreesboro is a college town there in Nashville, so it wasn't much, but they had other newer stores. So we went to those and sampled the menu. Had a few things and thought, wow, man, this is really a solid franchise, solid idea. That the food is great, coffee was great. So I think we were hooked at that point, pretty much.
Absolutely, we were. And we came back and said, okay, what do we do? And with Papa John's, if you leave, part of our agreement as our franchise, you leave, you got to sell it all back. You can't take your stock with you, which is, as a business owner, now I understand. When I was younger, I was like, well, I want to own it forever.
Right.
Well, we didn't want people leaving the company, and we wanted hands-on operators. We wanted you to live here, work here, you live it, breathe it, you operate it. And once you retire, you're not vested so much anymore. So that was our thing, is you had to sell all the stock back. So I went to my boss and I said, Keith, I found something I want to do. And he said, you got to sell your stock. I said, I know I have to. That's what I need to start the business. I'm just letting you know. And he said, I support you. He said, you're my first one leaving the nest.
Yeah.
And he teared up a little bit, and he said, I've got your back, whatever you want to do. And we sat down and we talked about it. We looked at numbers, and, we both had very successful careers, and it's hard to walk away from that.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to walk away from a company car and a company cell phone and an expense account and health insurance, and
especially with a little one.
Yeah.
Especially with a kid and a brand new mortgage.
Absolutely.
And a pool payment and all these other things that you're comfortable with.
You work to get to that point, and then you because I did the same thing. I worked for 27 years for a supply company in Houston, and I supplied people about the infrastructure in Houston, like the petrochemical plants and all the downtown buildings and hospitals and things like that. So when she retired, I guess about a year almost after that.
He shouldn't be here yet. His plan was to stay there until we opened the second store. COVID.
Forced him to downsize a little bit. So I went ahead and took an early retirement, so to speak. So, same boat for me. We had all, we worked so hard to get to that point, and we had all these. That's the thing, you work so hard for things, right, in your life.
Yep.
And
you kind of realize you don't need those things. You need the experiences of life. Yeah.
You really don't. I guess you get older, maybe you realize that less is more.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we decided just to jump in with both feet.
Yeah, we went home and we said, you know what? I tell you what, if they approve us as a franchisee, the bank approves us for the loan, or the SBA, and the landlord approves us for the spot, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
If any of it was hard, if any of it's difficult, if it's too much, it's not meant to be if we have to push it. So we got approved as a franchisee first. Then we went to the bank and got approved. Then we went and chatted with the landlord. Amazing man.
Right.
He owns the whole building. His daughter is the dentist at the end, Dr. Casey. And
okay.
they're just amazing people. He said, you're in. He said, you're the first people to come in that don't have deep fryers. I don't want that in my building. He didn't want grease traps. He didn't want
fried
donut
chicken
shops.
Or fried, yeah.
He said, you're in. And he was our first customer. He gave us our first dollar. It's framed, hanging up on the wall.
Aww.
He buys gift cards from us constantly to give to his other tenants, to give to their new customers as a thank you. So he supports us to help support it. It's just, he's an amazing man.
God, that's smart. We're going to have to get him on the podcast.
He's an
his
amazing
daughter
guy.
too.
Yeah.
Because that's such a good marketing.
He's not a real estate
landlord
mogul
by trade,
any
yeah.
means.
Right.
He works for National Oilwell Varco. Like, he's an executive for these guys. So he travels all the time to Kuala Lumpur and places like that. So he's gone all the time.
Yeah.
He's I think he really just wanted his daughter to be successful, right? So he built this strip center more really for
That's
her.
cool.
Which is genius because she's probably rent free.
Yeah.
Right. She's
so
rent free. He's not having
amazing.
to support it.
No.
But
Amazing
then at the
business
same
model.
time, he is generating income with rent and everything
Right.
else. But what's
Absolutely.
cool is not having any type of, I have to pay these
Right.
bills or I have to look at
Yeah,
it from
no,
a business
he's-
perspective when things happen,
Yeah.
COVID, what have you.
And he's not
It's easy.
excitable about anything. You're
Yeah.
you tell
Whatever
him,
we
hey, there's
need.
a
I
little
couldn't ask
problem
for a
with
better
this.
business
Yeah.
partnership.
He's not-
Yeah.
Because being kind of old, I say old school restaurant, 30 years in the business, we used to do stuff with a handshake. And
Right.
now you don't do that. And he's a handshake
He's a
kind of guy.
handshake guy.
And I love that about him. Matter of fact, we joked, we have purchased territory in Cyprus and the Woodlands for our next builds. Our goal, and I'll talk about this, I guess, to build 3 stores for 3 boys.
There you go.
And he said, where do you need me to build a building for
Yeah.
you? And there was, there's a couple times rent's been late because we literally signed all of our paperwork. 3 days later, went to the bank to finance, and they're like, we're sorry, this thing called COVID just hit.
Yep.
And the SBA is only doing bailout loans. You guys are tabled. We're like, till when? They said, we don't know. So now we have no jobs. We have no insurance, no income. We have rent that's due in 90 days.
Regardless, right?
Yeah, starting, which he helped us out with. He was amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then what do we do?
Right.
It forced us to take a 7-month vacation, which from working separately to being home all day long together. I'm sure there's many other couples that went through this during COVID. It was a test on our marriage for sure.
Right.
And
then you
having
had
to
to battle
homeschool.
with kids, right? Homeschooling.
that was
the
no.
little guy just wasn't having it. He was like, no, I'm not going to do it. No. You know. And
I prayed. I said, I'll pay double school taxes, whatever you need. Please take my child back.
Absolutely.
I have a newfound respect for the teachers. But later that year, we finally started building, and it was, we
Right.
thought it was a de-stressor for the moment, but it wasn't.
It was just the beginning.
It was just the beginning
Yeah.
of it, and
you don't realize too, when you start a business, you spend so much of your own time and money that's not factored into that equation,
Yeah.
right? So you already know that I'm gonna build a building and it's gonna cost X, so I'm gonna go to the bank, I'm gonna ask for that amount. But there's so many other little things between that are not really like in the cracks. Yeah, you don't budget for
Yeah.
it.
I forgot
that
we
you
need this, or
spend. Yeah.
I didn't get printer paper. I got it.
We
And all these little
probably-
things add up.
We probably spent,
We spent quite a bit of money out of pocket, and we've
We'll never
exhausted
get back.
at this point all of our savings. But life is good now. So
Rent's
we
being
love
paid on
high school
time.
kids.
It
Yeah,
is.
everything's okay.
Yeah.
We're working on spots 2 and 3. Summertime is really hard for us.
But
So
we-
if anybody's listening, please come out during the summertime and eat with us, because the kids are gone from
Right.
school. The teachers are gone from school, and we're in the middle of a neighborhood. We're not in a big retail
Right.
site.
That's
Right.
the other factor of that equation that we didn't really. We knew that it was we wanted to build a brand, right, in Houston. The only other one in Texas is Georgetown, so we wanted people to know Just Love by the name. So we picked a community that we wanted to be a part of.
where we
because
live. It's
we're
our
already
community.
part of that community, right?
Yeah.
To put our first location in, but not realizing that we thought that, hey, we're going to have all this word of mouth all the time, and we're just going to be, going bonkers. It's not necessarily the case. When we're busy, we're really busy, but when we're slow, sometimes we're really slow
Really
too.
slow.
and it's a B site. It wasn't really an A site for us.
And we'll go in big box retail again next time. We'll go in a big box spot because we want that foot traffic all day long. But in order to bring that brand awareness, we wanted to build where we lived.
And
that
we
way
succeeded.
we could build it.
I will say that on my day off, we get 1 day off a week.
If that.
You're right. And I wear a Just Love shirt everywhere I go. And people ask me why. And I said, because this is my brand. This is my brand. And I can't tell you how many people have stopped me and said, you know what, I've heard of you. Or I have friends that have been there, and I see you on Facebook. I've heard amazing things about you. Or I go there all the time. So it's working. What we did, it's just we have to be patient. And when we get to the next location, then we can, it's not we're not going to be home free by any means, but I feel like we've done a great job in promoting the brand for Houston. And there's other franchisees now that are coming in Houston market.
They're going to build out in Deer Park right now. They're building a location down there.
So
wow, okay, so
somebody bought
y'all
that territory.
Kind of the pioneer of Just Love coming to the Houston
here in
area.
Houston, right? And they had a franchise show in October of last year, I think at the convention center or somewhere, and Rob Webb, the founder of Just Love, came down with a bunch of people, and he said, I want to say thank you to y'all, because he came and visited with us during or after the show.
After the show, and he said people were just coming up to him at their booth going, your Tomball location's amazing.
I've heard
people are so nice.
So it worked.
And that's it's a great feeling. And we take a lot of pride in our restaurant. So we had a gentleman the other day, family of 5, there was a hair in their food, which it's going to happen in the restaurant business.
Yes.
It just happens.
Yeah.
I cried. Like he watched me tear up because it hurts me personally when we mess up somehow, some way, even if it's just something little like that. But it was so important that Rob and his wife, Emily, are proud of who we are. And we fell in love with the brand because they were founded on adoption. So Rob and Emily were called to adopt. That was just their calling. And when they went in to do that, holy moly, it's expensive. Like it's super expensive.
Ridiculous.
And so Rob started roasting coffee in his garage and selling it online to fund the adoption process for them. And it got so big, he couldn't do it in his garage anymore. So he found the cheapest warehouse he could in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and moved out there and started doing it in this warehouse. And all these other people in the warehouses around were like, I smell coffee. So they would go in there and they're like, hey, can we get a cup of coffee? He's like, no, that's not what's going on here. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're just roasting beans. And from what I understand, he went and got him a Mr. Coffee pot and just put it up there, put a little basket and started brewing a little pot of coffee every day. So people would just come in and start throwing change in. And then they were hungry. Well, I'm not a cook.
Yeah.
I can put some in a waffle iron.
I'm not even a coffee shop, and now you want food.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure how the waffle iron came about. I kind of imagine that he probably was there roasting beans all the time. He had a waffle iron, and he just started playing with it. Maybe I never
knew how to make
him.
food in a waffle iron for his kids. So let's whatever it is, let's stick it in a waffle iron and figure it out.
College dorm room or something.
It's kind of like a burger joint starting off with a George Foreman grill or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, everything on our menu is cooked in a waffle iron.
That's the most mind-blowing part
your
to me.
Sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit in the waffle iron. Your omelet, your womlet in the waffle iron. Your roast beef and cheddar in the waffle iron. The only thing we don't cook in the waffle iron is our scrambled eggs. We actually have a little stovetop for that. But everything else, I mean, it
was crazy.
And we put some amazing stuff on the side for us that we've cooked hamburgers in there for the crew, which is amazing, but it stinks up the place. So we want coffee smell. We don't want greasy burger joint
just
smell.
like every place, you make your own. Or back in the kitchen, you play with this or with
make
that,
your own
or
recipes, and
you're up there making your own drinks. You play with this or that, so it's that's part of it.
I was similar stories, Tamara. I worked for Domino's Pizza for Mac Pizza Management franchisee, and I was an assistant manager at the Waller location.
Very nice.
And same thing. I started out as a delivery driver, and then they were like, "Dude, when there's downtime and you're facing the sodas that are in the refrigerator and restocking and doing all the stuff, like we really like that. You want to move up and still make some deliveries every now and then when you're busy, but you'll be like that second key for the store. There's manager, couple assistant managers, that kind of thing. And you're right. It's so fast paced, and I actually really enjoyed the job, but we would make up our own breakfast pizzas because we were in a convenience store there at the Waller location. So we'd run to the convenience store and go grab bacon and eggs and that kind of stuff,
Scramble
and chunk it on the
right
pizza.
on the crust. There you go.
And then straight into the oven and make breakfast pizza. You could make before they were doing cinnamon sticks. We had cinnamon sticks before they were doing any type of specialty crust. We were putting butter around the crust.
Well,
and
all those great ideas come from
Somewhere.
franchisees and employees that are like,
absolutely.
why don't we do X or why don't we do Y?
Instead of one test kitchen, you got 20.
Yeah,
right?
that's where all your great ideas come from. And we really try hard to listen to our employees for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm working in the kitchen because that's where I like to be. But if something doesn't work back here and you want it somewhere else, put it somewhere else. If you think y'all are my team. So tell me what you need. How can we make it better for you?
Yeah, there's no blueprint. I mean, it's all
we just kind of running by the skin of our teeth.
We change even the restaurant itself. I mean,
Just Love is amazing. And they looked back at 22 years of restaurant history and they said, here's our franchise package. It's in this box. This is what we want it to look like. And I kind of came back with some things and I said, look, you guys have a white subway tile along this whole back wall. It's going to be $6,500 for me to tile that wall. I would much rather spend $6,500 on other things in my restaurant.
Sure.
I was like, I found this wood grain tile for 39 cents a square foot at Floor and Decor. They were like, okay, we'll let you do it. And they came down and they loved it.
And sterile too, I think.
It's your own style.
That's a word.
But they like the way that it looks and they'll allow us to do it again. And they were very, very lenient with us. And they let us do some things like coffee flights. I found a place in Magnolia that does them, and they're absolutely amazing. And I had customers that would come in and ask for that. Like, no, we don't do that. And I went ahead and did it without asking. And it's a franchise. I know better. So they called me and they said, hey, what are you doing? We saw your social media. I said, well, honestly, and I'm selling a medium latte for twice the amount of money. I'm just splitting it up into 4 cups and putting 4 different flavors in it. And they're like, okay, can you send me some paperwork on that so we can get that put in the system for you? That's a genius idea. I said, I'd love to say it's mine. Right. It's not mine. It was from my customers. But now we rotate those out and the other stores do them as well. But it's amazing to have a brand that believes enough in their franchisees to say, okay, you can try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we'll let you try it and we'll see how it goes. But Rob has been absolutely amazing. And their whole support team, and they're just growing, and they're going through some growing pains at headquarters too, because they're going to double the amount of stores in 1 year that they had.
There's supposed to be 25 additional stores by the end of the year.
What a problem to have, though.
It's a great problem.
Well,
they've
hired a new COO, which is an amazing man within his own rights, because he came from
Cracker Barrel.
Ray
Johnson.
He left. Mm-hmm. He left
a multi-billion-dollar restaurant company to come work for Just Love, and
he saw Just Love as a diamond in the rough, right? He sees beyond what we can be right now, So.
No, I definitely think it's a unique model that you don't see at a whole lot of coffee shops. And I mean, same thing, I was mind blown the first time I ate there, and I forget what I ordered. It may have been the biscuit, it may have been something, but I saw that waffle iron look in it, and I did not know.
Right.
So I was like,
people all the time are like, Dustin, I didn't order a waffle.
Yeah.
This is not what I ordered. I'm like, it's not a waffle. There's no waffle in that.
They think that everything is
totally,
a waffle.
But it was, that's the cool part about it is it does truly, and I'm not saying this to suck up because you're on the show or anything else. It's actually really good food. I haven't had anything. And what's cool is it's almost like a combination of a bakery and a restaurant and a coffee shop, because if you want a sweet treat and you're just stopping to get a nice coffee and a sweet treat, you got it. If you want to come in and have a full meal and a coffee to top it off, or like me, I'll have dessert before my meal. So,
nothing wrong with that.
You want to start off with that, you can. Like, there's so many options to choose from.
And it is so hard to present that waffle appearance. People don't realize. So we use commercial waffle makers, the same waffle makers that's golden malted, like you see in
a lot of hotels.
Yeah, a lot of the hotels, like you have your morning breakfast and stuff.
I like the Texas shaped ones myself.
Yeah, we could buy the Texas plates, and they had like
we have our own personal Just Love plate. Yeah. They have our logo in them, so
that's awesome.
When you get food, you get a.
But we're doing things with those makers that they're not really meant to do. Like, they were never really meant to make sandwiches and stuff with them. So
grilled cheese and sausage patties and
so
chicken breast
hard on the maker itself, because they're Teflon coated plates. So what happens is, after a period of a few weeks, that Teflon coating wears off and everything just sticks to it. So we're constantly replacing. We replace those plates every month.
Wow.
And so it's an expense, but it's
our delivery guy goes, what are y'all doing to these? Right? I'm like, oh well.
But I mean, it's worthwhile
because
that appearance is so nice to hear people say, wow, that I love that waffle pattern on this or that.
Yeah, it's the uniqueness of.
And there's
going
only
to Just
5
Love.
things on our menu that actually have waffle in them, waffle batter in
That's
them.
funny.
Everything else is just waffleized.
Waffleized.
And it's a huge menu, so it's not
Yeah.
It's a pretty good menu, and we rotate new things in and out, and some seasonal items. And we have, obviously, our fall drinks are coming up, which everybody gets super excited for. You get your fall and your winter with your peppermint mocha and
pumpkin
your
spice
real,
everything.
your real pumpkin. And see, our pumpkin, we don't use a pumpkin syrup. We actually cook
real pumpkin
Wow.
puree and all that in the back of the kitchen to make a sauce out of. So it doesn't have that synthetic flavor to it.
Bad thing about it is it doesn't have very long shelf life either.
We're making it every
Yeah, so
other
we're
day,
making it,
but we
yeah.
go through it, and it's a fun experience. But the brand has been absolutely amazing. I love to see the new things that they're doing and the people they're growing. Their training director, she was a barista for them, and I love to see that they're doing the homegrown thing that I grew up with at Papa John's.
Absolutely.
We don't hire from outside. We bring you up from within because nobody knows it better than the people that are doing it right now.
Yeah.
And we're trying that with our staff. We have an assistant manager in there that was a barista for us. And I don't hire assistant managers from outside the company or shift managers. They're all, you got to come in and you got to wash dishes. Whatever position you work for me, your first week is washing dishes.
Yeah.
Because I wash dishes.
Yeah.
We all do it. There's a time we all have to jump in and help. And if you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to operate
Or
the
you
machine.
cook,
you're in trouble.
it goes from dishes to cook to front.
Yeah.
You learn to register, and then you can start working. We have 2 different machines. We have a drive-through automated machine because it's fast. And then we have the old school machine from imported from Italy. That's what everybody that's what you graduate to because
There's an art to it.
It's not the hardest to learn, but there is an art to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back and I read through our reviews every now and then online, and most of them are amazing. You can tell the couple of people that we really ticked off because they just go on this huge rant, and I clap back at them, which I probably shouldn't.
I
that's
love
just
it,
kind of my
personally.
personality. I'm like, look, lady, come on. And
But let's be real.
Right.
Let's explain what exactly happened and why, and let's talk about that.
yeah, and one of the reviews was a review right when we were about not even 2 weeks open yet, and there was a line out the front door, and this guy, they waited in line for about 15 minutes to get to the register, and I let everybody know it's going to take about 25 minutes for drinks right now. And he went, I don't understand how that could be possible. I'm like, we're not just pouring a cup of coffee.
Right.
We've been open for 10 days. So I've got all these employees brand new on all these machines with all these recipes, and we're 37 drinks down. Well, I've got a drive-through machine with 1 group head on it and a manual machine with 2. So you're talking 2 minutes a drink. It's going to take me a minute to get to your drinks. And he actually ended up coming back later, and he said, show me your process. I want to learn, because I clapped back at him. So he came back about 3 months after we were open. He said, show me what you're doing. I said, if you want a house coffee, 10 seconds, here you go. But if you want a handcrafted espresso drink, it's going to take me a minute. It's hand done. And now that the kids, I say kid, they're all pretty much kids except for one, know how to do their latte art and make it all pretty. They fight over it. Nobody wants to make the frap. Nobody wants to make the iced tea. They just want to do their drawings and the art. And I'm like, guys, there's a time when we have a line to the door. It's not the time for that.
Or
you're putting it to go cup with a lid.
Right.
Not the time for that.
Yeah.
But they take pride in it, and that's what's super important.
Well, that's a powerful. If you spend a minute or two to put art in a cup,
it's Instagrammable.
that's right. You
Sure.
would be
People do.
surprised how many we get. A lot of stay-at-home moms, and they're all about that. The first thing they do is take the picture and they'll post it. So it's free advertising.
I was gonna
for
say,
us.
on one hand, for y'all, it's kind of like, well, we do want you to do that.
That makes them
but-
feel special.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, look at this. You just don't get that at every place that you go to.
Sure.
Now, my lattes, when I can't do latte art, I'm too ADD to slow down to do it. So you get kind of a swirl, and then I'll just take the little whisk and I'm like, that's Hurricane George from 1983. How do you like that? There you go. They're like,
The Hurricane
that's
Trooper.
cute. I'm like, yeah, just go with it. It's fine.
This is my vision of what the next hurricane's
It's
going to look like on the map.
Here you
So
go.
here you go.
It's one of a kind. You'll never get another one of those.
Yeah.
But giving back was a big part of us choosing this brand. And I was a single mom. My 21-year-old son is probably more information people want to know. Never met his father. Never had a dime in child support. And I worked really hard to make sure I never needed any child support because
Absolutely.
I said, I'm going to take care of you. It doesn't matter what it costs. And I married when he was younger, got divorced and went through some hard times. And there was an older couple that lived next door to me. And I tell people this story all the time. And I couldn't catch up on my bills. Like I couldn't catch up. And if I got to even, I was fine, but I couldn't catch up.
Right.
And they came over and they helped me out. And it took about 6 months before I would accept the help. I was just too prideful. And they got me back to ground zero and never had not that I never struggled again, but I was always okay after that.
Right.
And I told Jon, I said, that's something that's super important to me is giving back to the community where we live, and giving back to people in need. And it doesn't have to be a single mom. It could be anybody. You don't know what anybody. And we created a fund called the Love Fund that we have at our restaurant. And we do a lot of things to support that. We have Santa Claus come out and do pictures with kids, and people donate for that. We do bingo night the first Wednesday of every month. We added bunko night. And we do some other events throughout the year. And every dollar that we make from a donation, we match 100% of that pot. And then it's just kind of open. If somebody says, hey, I need help. I can't get to work. I can't afford to take a gas right now. I will go meet you at the Shell station. I will swipe my credit card and I will pay for your gas. I will not give you cash. I've been burned too many times.
Absolutely.
If you need groceries, you need to feed your kid, go to H-E-B, get what you need. Text me when you're getting ready to check out. I will drive up there and I will pay for your groceries.
Yeah.
I've helped people catch up on their electric bills, back to school clothes. Thanksgiving time, we went to the store and we got all this stuff to Thanksgiving meals for I think it was 6 or 7 families. And I didn't buy them a pre-cooked turkey or the stuffing that was already, no, you got to, I'll give it to you, but you got to do it because that's part of the experience of Thanksgiving is preparing a meal for your family, with your family. And I reached out to Tomball ISD and I said, I need 6 families that that because they know, they know who they have in their area that need help.
Yeah.
And I said, if they're okay with me delivering it to their home, I'll take it to them. If they're not okay with that, they can come pick it up. If you want me to take it to the school, because anonymity is important. If they want to come pick it up from the school, they can. But if they want to come pick it up from our shop, tell them to bring all their kids, all their family. They can have a meal on us while they're here, and then we'll send them home with a meal.
Wow.
And one of the houses that I delivered to was a very, very nice home. And a customer had commented that they saw us taking the meal over there and said, I don't know why you're helping people in a high-end neighborhood. That's just not where you should be helping people. I said, well, where I help people is not your business. But I will tell you this, the husband just passed away. They had no life insurance on him. She's a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids. She lost everything. The medical bills are eating her alive. She's lost her car. Her power's about to be shut off. And her 17-year-old son just drove the car through the garage and completely impounded the game room into the garage. And they don't have any homeowners insurance right now. So just because what you see on the outside is what you think it's not.
Don't judge a book, right?
And that particular customer went over there and helped them get Christmas. So you got to help where you live. And it's important to me to help in the community where we're at. Not that people in Galveston don't need help or Baytown or things like that.
No, but I
want to help where I live.
Sure.
Where, if people need help, they just send us an email. Or they'll come up to the shop, or we reach out to the school. I reach out to the counselors at all the schools around us who needs backpacks. We just did a big fundraiser for backpacks. Who needs school supplies, clothes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then
we helped after the freeze too. There's quite a few people that had what we could. And I mean, busted pipe, everybody had. We want to help everybody, but unfortunately but there were some people in general that they were living in trailer houses and stuff, just in for months without running water and stuff. We helped people like that,
Yeah, so we were displaced out of our rent house for a week because we were in between. We had sold our house in Oak Crest.
You were building new, and
we were building in Cherry Pines, and we were in a I want to say it was a 1957 pier and beam home in downtown Tomball.
Oh, wow.
And they don't know how many pipe busts we had because there were, and
there's no insulation underneath that building.
1,000 square foot home, and so many pipes were busted. They don't know how to count up how many were busted, and so we were displaced for about a week.
It was just
we stayed at a friend's house.
It's a horrible feeling. Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like my wife and I aren't paid terribly. We have good jobs, but when you have 3 kids and you're both working full time, and the freeze hits, and you're renting, and you're in between, and you can't do too much with your money because you're still waiting on finance to come through. But at the same time, you're also spending every dime you have in your rental and everything else. And it's like that hits, you need that help too.
That's terrible. It's terribly expensive. Everything is terribly expensive anymore when it comes to any kind of repairs or something. I mean, it's hard on anybody. I don't care who you are or what.
But that's such a good story to give and a lesson to teach is, just like you said, you don't know where somebody's at. ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
what you see on the outside is not what's going on behind the closed doors sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really try to work. I reach out to the counselors at the schools because they typically know that. And I tell them, hey, if the parent, will you reach out to the parents? If they want to chat with me, they can. If they want to work through you, they can. And we just kind of keep it. And some of the parents just want it anonymous. And, we adopted 5 single moms for Christmas. And that was something that was important to me. And we asked them for lists for what their kids wanted. And we went out and we bought all the stuff. And we bought the wrapping paper. We bought the tape. We bought the bows so that mom could actually wrap the gifts for them.
we
didn't want to show up with just
wrap stuff like, hey,
because
Just Love bought this for you.
Right. We wanted the mother to feel important.
Like she was.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It is hard. I've been there. I with my oldest son, I had a $5 dollar store Christmas one year after I got divorced. And I remember he got 5 things from the dollar store. And I sat and I cried. But he was 3. He didn't know any better. And it's just nice to be able to help out. And we even go and get little gifts for the kids to give the mom.
Oh,
just generic, math fizzies and stuff like that. And we wrap them up and we put to mom from the kids. And we tell mom, here's a little note. Don't look in this package. Just give this bag to the kids and tell them it was at the front door and it says kids on it. And that way they feel like mom got something too.
Right.
But when we started the brand and we were waiting for COVID to move along, you were in the neighborhood still then.
Oh yeah.
We had the Easter Bunny. The parents were like distraught that their kids could not go take pictures with the Easter Bunny. I've never seen anything like it in my life. They were just, distraught.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, let's go buy an Easter Bunny costume. He's like, what? I was like, let's go do it. I'm going to sit in the back of your truck in an Easter Bunny costume. We're going to go buy a bunch of candy. We're going to drive through the neighborhood in Just Love outfits, and we're going to throw out candy so we can introduce ourselves to the neighborhood.
But you didn't end up being the Easter Bunny, right? We made
our
oldest kid do it to teach him some humility, right? A little bit.
Hey, that's what I tell my kids all the time. I'm like, what do you think I had y'all for?
Yeah.
Yep,
right. And it seemed like it was
hot.
It was like 90 degrees.
It was hot, and we bought about $1,000 worth of candy, and we drove through the neyborhood and we threw it out parade style. Kids could come up and stand next to the truck and take a picture with the Easter. So all those kids that would have missed their first Easter.
That was the hardest part about COVID.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's first day of kindergarten.
Yeah.
I didn't get to partake in that.
Yeah.
You just had to drop them off at the school and let them go. You couldn't go in.
Yeah.
You really don't think about this kind of stuff that you never really get back, right?
No, 100%. I have, it still pops up in my memories to this day. My 13-year-old, his first day of kindergarten, and I took him there and I walked him in and took a picture.
It's been a rough couple of years for everybody. Not just us. I mean, just.
And what a time to open a restaurant.
Americans,
like if you're going to do open a restaurant, COVID is not. We were 3 days in. We couldn't back out then.
But we were fortunate though. There was so many.
There's a lot of people that have
so many restaurants and small businesses and stuff that went under just because of
Yep. I mean, HTO, we've had them on the podcast, and similar story.
They come through our drive-thru all the time.
Yeah. Oh, I love them, man. They're awesome.
They're great people.
And it's the same thing, opening during COVID, and it's like, you have to have a special place,
right? I
think, in order to make it through like that, because you can't do that without your customers rallying behind you, and they're not. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not rallying behind your competitors.
And
I don't care about them.
You have to have. I mean, you have to be. There's so many businesses and restaurants out there that I feel like they're not genuine, and I don't mean that ugly. I just mean that you go in and you just feel like you're a number. And, and I feel corporate. Like you have corporate. To, yes. And
this guy knows all the customers. Like when he gets a day off, they're like, "Where's Jon? Is he okay?" I'm like, "I just gave him a day off." Like they're like, "Why are you up front?" And I'm like, we took
Did
our
you
kids
kill him finally?
Right? We were at Universal Studios on vacation. We got a 3-day. We just went out there really quick and came back. We're sitting there having dinner at Mel's Diner, and he goes, "What was she, mocha frap, no whip lady or what?" He's like, "That's so and so," and he calls out this drink order. I said, "You're insane. That is not one of our customers." He goes, "It is." I said, "No, it's not." He goes up to this lady at the register. I'm sitting there. Oh my gosh! Comes back with her. She's like, "Hi!" And
nice.
He knows all of our customers. Like, and that's important. Like it's important. We have a video camera on our drive-thru so we can see who's sitting there, and it's not super clear, but sometimes he can say, "Okay, so you're here for da 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 today," and they're like, "What?"
What makes people feel important?
It is.
It's like
for sure.
Cheers. Remember Norm coming in Cheers, and it's the same way.
Everybody knows.
We do the same thing with some. We got this guy Kevin that comes in all the time. He work. So we have this little private room, and a lot of people come in and work from the private room all day long, and that's what he does. And we're like, Kevin, but people like to be recognized.
100%.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It's like the guy with the HTO.
Every time I see Billy and Kaylee, their employees, I think probably similar to y'all, are a lot of high school kids and, people that they're kind of given that first chance to. And, they're great and all, but obviously the ones you recognize are going to be the ones that are there all the time. The owners and
And we're there all day, every day. And a lot of people go into the franchise or restaurant business thinking, I'm going to buy a restaurant, I'm going to sit at home and wait for mailbox money.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Now, maybe when you have 10 or 15 stores going, but when you have one and neither one of you are working another job, they're all day, every day. And, one of us opens, the other one closes, and it's just constant. We're there. And if we're not there, there's either we're on vacation, which has been twice. We got 3 days off. Or something's wrong. Yeah. So, but it's really building that brand and being part of the community and everybody knowing who we are. And like I said, we wear the shirt. We were in Captain Brad's one day. I had my shirt on. He didn't because I had just gotten off. And a family walked out and they were all wearing our shirts. We were like, hey. Hey. And we support other local businesses, and it's important. It's important to support them as well. And I've had customers tell me too, we're not going to support you. We didn't know you were a franchise. We're supporting local, not franchise. I said, well, here's the thing. I said, franchise is local. That just means I'm not smart enough to come up with all the cool ideas that they did and all the recipes.
And I think there's a big difference too, though, in the mom and pop franchise versus someone who owns,
500
and
restaurants.
Nothing against where you came from. I know Cambo, and I know people who've worked around y'all's circle, and I know that y'all had a jam up in that organization. It's still a jam up organization, but it is one of those. They're a large group.
Yeah, we had 57 stores here in Houston. We were a big franchise,
right? It's money, whereas this is mom and pop.
It is, and and our goal is. I've got 3 boys. I love all my boys dearly. I didn't go to college. I had an engineering mission. That was my plan. I was going to be an engineer, and I decided not to go because I fell in love with the food service business. And none of my kids want to go to college. The 2 older, they don't want to go. I'm not going to force them to go. It saves me a lot of money.
Right.
But our goal is to open 3 stores so that each boy gets a store. I'm spending all my money. I'm not leaving them any money when I die. I'm going to travel the world.
I'm using it.
I'm using it all. I'm going to do all the fun things. I'm going to visit all the different countries. I'm going to eat my way and drink my way around. Just have a good time and enjoy my retirement.
For sure.
But I will leave them each a fully functioning restaurant that I've taught them how to operate. And they can choose to run it, sell it, or pay somebody else to run it. But I'll give them a future. I'm not just going to hand it to them. So right now, the 2 oldest ones work in my restaurant, in my kitchen. One of them's washing dishes right now. He hates it. He's only been there for 5 weeks, maybe. But everybody starts off there, and that's we have a 10-year plan, and that was our plan. So we get 10 years out, we'll retire. You'll be 62, and I'll be 54. So that's our plan. It may or may not work. We'll see, but we're really working towards it, and we don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing. We don't have a fund for that. So it's all word of mouth. It really is.
And so y'all can accept donations and all that stuff. So one of the ways we can support you then is our listeners open up their pocketbooks, give to that.
Absolutely.
And it's supporting, like you said, just the local area right now. So
and then come out and play bingo on first Wednesday of every month. It's $1 a card to play bingo, and then we match that pot. And then you win stuff. You win free coffee, you win snacks.
Our hope
t-shirts.
is that the other franchisees, once they start building in Houston, will do the same thing. So
that'd be cool.
Hopefully we'll have a love fund to cover the Houston area.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. And then I know on Facebook, because I've already posted my picture of my coffee. On Facebook, it's Just Love Cafe or Coffee Cafe.
It's at Just Love Tomball.
Okay, so at Just Love Tomball, and then you can tag y'all there.
Yep.
And
same thing on Instagram.
Follow y'all on that. Yep.
Yeah, and then we have a Twitter. I don't really understand how to use that one too much, but I use a platform called Sochi, so I can just make one post and it goes to all the things because I'm too old for all that.
She's in charge of that because social media and me, no.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's
just don't
not
get
fun.
along.
We do it for a living, so obviously it's easier for me to say it's not fun, but
And he's the guy that I accidentally clicked like on something. I didn't mean to do it. How do I undo it? I'm like, just click it again. Just click
social
it again.
media is fun in the way that my wife is doing it, where she has all these reels that are making like 10,000 views and stuff because she just posts random funny things. But when you have multiple companies, or like me, I have Jon the Marketer, and then I have my personal Don Juan Jeep page, and then I've got all these other ones that I have to personally keep up with. It's a full-time job.
Well, you got to be careful too, because your views and the views of your company are two different things.
I even say it on here.
I'm
my
very
podcast
careful about
page,
what I say on social media.
My podcast page straight up says, even though this is presented by Beefy Marketing and it's the Beef Podcast, I don't want people to listen and think, oh, well, Jon Kelly said this on the show, so that's how Beefy Marketing feels. No, this is my personal opinion that happens here.
That's what's
and you're right, I got to censor it.
Yeah,
I can't say how I really feel,
and
because someone may disagree.
The main reason that I don't even get on social media is, it's not that I can't control myself. I just don't want to put myself in that position.
The problem is I'm too truthful and honest.
Yeah.
So what you see is what you get, and you're going to hear what I want to say. And I can say it in a polite manner, and that's not offensive or rude, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that every company wants that idea pushed. So I have to just avoid some topics.
So many people out there are keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
I bite my tongue on our neighborhood page all the time, just because I'm like, no, these people are my customers. I can't do that. Like, I have to be nice.
You just can't do that. And there's so many people that are so apt to click, I don't like your level of service. And it's not because our service was bad. It's just because they had a personal view that didn't match, I feel like, ours in the restaurant. And point in fact, when we were at one point where we're requiring masks in the restaurant.
I remember. Yep.
You would be surprised how many people were just absolutely furious.
Or they lost their minds. Yeah. And I'm like, we had one lady that went back on the neighborhood page and made a big complaint about us. And this is how loyal our customers are to our brand. I had like 15 people text me within 5 minutes. Go look at the page. Go look at the page. I'm like, what am I looking for on the page? She came up and I guess she had an acne issue, so she didn't want to wear a mask. And we let her know that, hey, we have a patio. You can order from our app. We'll bring it outside to you. We'll come outside and take your order. You can go through the drive-through, take it home. There's a lot of ways you can get product without coming inside. And she's like, well, I walked all the way up here with my baby. I'm like, and it was fall. It wasn't hot out. Houston's always hot, but it wasn't hot outside.
No, hot.
But she just had an absolute meltdown on the page, and neighbors attacked her. She so much so that she left the neighborhood page, the buy sell page. Like she's gone, and I was like, "You guys are amazing."
When it's simple,
they were like,
"All we wanted you just wear the mask when you order."
You go sit down, and we were.
And we told them, there's drink. We're making drinks. If anybody's been in the restaurant, they know that we got this big lazy Susan that we spend the drinks out to you. We just want people at that point in time. We want people to wear their masks when they're ordering drinks, because there's open drinks there. You can sit down and take off your mask all day long. It's just. Please respect that. And it was just
she lost her mind.
An issue.
I think it comes down to common courtesy and common sense, which, that old saying, common sense is a flower that doesn't grow in everybody's garden.
Yep. It doesn't.
Regardless of your opinion on the matter, I think we all have to respect personal decisions.
Absolutely you do. And being in the service industry, it's hard because there are a lot of customers.
Yep.
That I personally wouldn't spend time with outside of work. They're just not my kind of people.
Sure.
But that's not my job.
No.
And I tell my employees that all day long. You don't have to like them. You're not here to be friends with customers. You're here to serve them. That's what you're getting paid 100%. To do. And that customer should never know that you have...
feel otherwise.
Absolutely. They should feel just as important as the customers that come in here every day that you love.
Keeping
they're the most important customer of the day.
Right. Keeping personal, political, and religious views and stuff out of the workplace. It's not that you can't display. Well, I mean, sometimes you can't. Because of the customer. Right. But as far as, you should be able to, with respect, say or do what you want to do. But the point is, you shouldn't treat your customer any different based on their personal opinion, personal beliefs, religious beliefs, whatever it is.
It's hard walking that line.
It was the biggest shocking moment to me was, we own an event services company for DJ, photo booth, all that stuff. Well, I used to own that by myself. And I was at a trade show, a wedding show. And this lady walked up and she said, "Hey, I'm marrying a woman. Will you take my business?" So is your money green?
Right.
Your money spends just as good as everybody else's.
I mean,
money.
are you paying me with counterfeit bills or real bills? Because if
Right.
you're paying me with real bills, then here's the contract. Let's
Right.
get that signed
Let's get
and
it out of the way,
let's do
right?
business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how someone can worry so much about someone else's life that they wouldn't do business with them. But that's a whole
There's
political
people
discussion.
out there, yeah. There's people out there. that
It's
live there.
crazy.
And
We can coexist is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like I can be your customer and I can be your company,
Well,
no matter how different our views may
Yes.
be.
And it's important because I don't want everybody coming in to be the same as me. How
Heck
boring.
no.
How
Yeah.
boring would
I
it
annoy
be?
myself.
Right.
I don't want to hang out with people just like me all
And
the
me
time.
sometimes.
Yeah.
That's
I annoy you all the time.
That's what's great about America
Right.
is that we're all so different. It
Yes,
makes the
it makes
world
it-
an interesting
Well,
place.
these past, let's admit it, the past couple of years tested everybody's patience in America. I mean,
I think so.
not just here. I mean, everywhere around the world. And we're all kind of grumpy come out of it because we're just it's hard.
Yeah.
And we've
everybody has
really
lost so
tried-
much and sacrificed so much. Everybody, not just us. I mean, everybody.
Yeah. We've
For
tried
sure.
really hard to be good with the only customer I've ever lost I shouldn't apologize my language, is a high school kid that came in and took her shoes and socks off and put her feet up on my table. I said, "Excuse me."
I don't even know what to say to
I said,
that.
what are you doing? She's like, "Don't worry about what I'm doing." I said, "Well, I'm a little worried about it. It's a restaurant. Your feet are on my table."
Yeah.
She's like, I said, you need to take your feet off and you need to move tables so we can sanitize this table. And she got real mouthy with me. And I said, "You know what? Get out." She's like, "You can't do that." I said, "Oh, honey, but I can. I can." And then all her little friends were, I said, "Oh, y'all, bye-bye. Y'all have a nice day." What?
Gosh.
No, we don't want to go. I'm like, bye. Other than that, I mean, we've gotten along beautifully with just
Yeah.
every customer.
You're gonna have it's a service related. It's a service related industry. And
Absolutely.
You're
Yep.
not going to please 100% of the people. There's just 100% of the time. It's just somebody somewhere that's going to come in that already had a bad day to start with.
Yeah, they're running late for work. The baby
Yeah.
spit up on their suit and they had to change.
Something is just going to set them
make
off.
their day better.
You just have to deal with it as best you can. And you're going to get a bad review about it. You just have to deal with that too.
So y'all are located at Shaw Road, right near North Point,
Right?
Yep, Sunset
right
Canyon
outside
and Shaw.
the whole Wildwood, I guess for a lack of a better term, complex of neighborhoods.
We're
There,
right
you
smack
know,
in the middle. Yeah,
in the middle of Hayden Lakes, Wildwood at Oak Crest, Wildwood at North Point, all those. What are y'all's hours and days that you're open? When can I come by and visit?
So we have drive-through and dine-in hours. Monday through Friday, our drive-through, opens at 5:30.
Okay.
Dine-in opens at 6:30, and everything closes at 7. Saturday and Sunday we open at 6:30 for dine-in, drive-through, 7:30 for dine-in, and then we close at 4 on Sundays.
Yeah.
But Saturdays we're open until 7. We have to have some kind of break in that.
Oh, sure.
It dies on Sunday, but during the week, man, we get some
Pops,
high school. We
busy.
call it our frap attack.
Yeah.
We watch them out the drive-through window. Tomball Memorial High School releases, and they're like a swarm.
Yes.
And we watch them coming.
Yeah. They
And
love
we
their
stretch
fraps.
out and we get ready.
Yeah.
We like line up in our
And now that
spot.
we
You got to put
have
Eye
a-
of the Tiger on. Yeah.
And we have a few other items in our arsenal now with the Red Bull and
Got
stuff.
some Red Bull
I think they're
infusions,
just going to be busy.
Not everybody drinks coffee, so you got to learn to cater
Sure.
to your crowd that needs caffeine that doesn't drink coffee. So we
Absolutely.
gotta
No,
fix
that's
that.
a very real thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so what, as far as your menu goes, I can order anything, anytime.
Yes.
breakfast, lunch, dinner, all day.
Okay,
every
so
day.
there's
You
no
want a
specific
club
time
salad
for
at
menus.
5:30 in the
Yeah.
morning, or you want a
And if you
sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit at
Sounds
6:30 at
terrible.
night?
if you roll up at 7 o'clock and we're closing, we're going to make you something to eat regardless.
Gotcha.
We
Tamara's looking at you like,
do.
No.
I mean, we've done
We were
that.
closed for an hour the other day, and we were still there cleaning. And one of our solid, I'm talking twice a day, customers
Wow.
came up through the drive-through. I said, "Tracy, come on up. We'll get you." We couldn't make her food because the kitchen was closed, but she just wanted caffeine anyway.
right.
And we just made her. She's like, "You just saved my
Yeah, we have people come through. I mean, I'm there at 5 o'clock in the morning because I have to calibrate the machines every morning. I mean, there's an art to it. So
Yeah.
you don't just roll up and just turn the machines on and start pulling shots and stuff. You have to actually calibrate your grinds and you have to weigh them and everything and measure exact amount. So I'm there in the mornings anyway. I can't tell you how many people knock on the window.
Come
and
on in,
I
we'll
said,
let you."
look, I have limited staff. I don't know that I'm be able to serve you food, or you just looking for drinks, and I help them out.
Yeah,
You know?
that's, to me, going back to that franchise conversation, that's the difference right there in your opening up a bunch of restaurants and hiring random strangers to run it versus we're here to invest in this one company. And especially a company like this one that isn't your huge, like you didn't open a Starbucks in Tomball.
Right.
You know, nothing against them, but you didn't open up a Starbucks. You opened up a Just Love Coffee. It's different.
Yes.
It is. And we really want to be that place. We have a kids play area in there, a small kids kitchen. And we debate constantly, should we leave it? Should we take it? Because unfortunately we get some parents that are not very mindful of their child's volume or location while they're dining with us. And they just let them run them up and scream and yell. And we'll have customers that get up and walk out because they're on their laptop trying to work. So we're trying to find a fine balance between wanting those moms to come sit down and be able to have a chat with their girlfriend and have a cup of coffee.
But we do have
somebody's working on their computer over here. So
mothers that genuinely need a break that come in.
Yeah. And we try to be everything to everybody, although we know we can't.
Can't be.
Sure.
So we try to accommodate everyone in the best way that we can. And we want to be somewhere where people, hey, where do you want to go? I want to go to Just Love. So we want to be that destination.
Perfect. So the best way to support you, show up to the restaurant.
Come to the restaurant, buy some food, buy some drinks. We have just invested in a portable espresso machine, which everybody's like, oh, a cute little one to take around with you. Those are cheap. No, they're not cheap. Thousands and thousands of dollars. But we are going to be able to, in about 2 months, service weddings, school events, anything where we can
catering.
We've got full catering now, but we'll be able to do espresso bars on site.
Yeah.
So that'll be a new thing that we can offer.
Weddings, man. That's
coffee bars are hot at weddings right now.
Absolutely. It's a smaller version of the machine that we have currently in house. Same brands, made in Italy. Same quality shot. So it's not something that you're going to go down.
Got it, Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah,
it's going to be good quality coffees.
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, so that'll give us a new dynamic and outside the restaurant, and it's a beautiful coffee bar setup where you can come get your flavored lattes.
We can do DoorDash.
We do DoorDash,
and we have an app. Just Love Coffee has an app, so we have a drive-through, so you can app and come through the drive-through if you want to.
You don't have to wait because we're not fast food. And that's something we had to explain to our customers at the beginning. You're going to order through our you're not getting a 37-second cheeseburger out the window to you because we don't cook anything until you order it. And it's not a 30-second cook time. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
So we had to train our customers to understand. But I mean, last time I went to Whataburger, I was in the drive-thru for 27 minutes.
Even McDonald's. Not that we frequent McDonald's, but I mean, I see cars in line McDonald's. I hear people saying they've
been there forever.
10, 15-minute wait there.
We're 4, 5, 6 minute wait in our drive-thru.
We're half that, so we're doing good. We're veteran owned and operated as well. So
you're the vet. He's a Navy vet.
So we try to support first responders as much as we can too. And
if they're on duty, by the way, in uniform, free house coffee any time of the day.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then all veterans, military, first responders always get 10% discount.
The fire department rolls up all the time. The 4, 5, 6 guys will come in,
Yeah, I know.
Trucks sitting outside.
When I was at Station 5, of course, we came in a couple times for breakfast. Yeah. And I mean, it's not that it's a requirement or anything, but it is really awesome when you have a company that's willing to support you as a firefighter or a fire department, because whether it's going to be meetings that we have in the morning or it's emergency situations like I called y'all for, where you're bringing up lunch and you're bringing up coffee and stuff because we were dealing with a firefighter that we had lost and trying to plan things and take care of his crew members that had to be on duty even though they had just suffered his loss and that kind of stuff. It means a lot whenever
that's important.
Y'all come in and do that.
Probably more important than just serving the community, but serving the people that serve the community.
Yeah.
Is an important part of our...
Well, we do it not for that. So it's like, honestly,
my mom
we
was
want
a
you to take
volunteer
care of the community. Yeah.
Well, you just like serving in the military, you don't even think about it. You just sign and go.
Just do it.
Yeah. No, y'all definitely have a worthy restaurant, that should be supported by the community as well. That. So I can't thank y'all enough for coming on the show, for telling y'all's story.
Absolutely.
I personally think it was a great conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed having y'all on, and I am definitely going to enjoy that cup of coffee that's been sitting there forever. So thank y'all for bringing in drinks.
Yeah. And thanks for having us. Man. We appreciate it. We love Tomball. We love being here, and we can't think of a better place to start our new journey together.
Yeah, we actually need to talk to you about photo booth. So
I know.
For Santa Claus pictures.
Let's get all that stuff
Yeah.
going for
Okay,
sure.
awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, listeners and
Thanks, Jon.
viewers, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Beef Podcast. I hope that y'all thoroughly enjoyed this show and found another coffee spot. Tomball's lucky. We've got a lot of coffee shops here that you have to come support. So Just Love Coffee has to be on your list if it's not already. They've got a great story. They truly are a great supporter of the community, even beyond what they talked about today, just the things that I've seen them do. So please like their Facebook page, their Instagram, their Twitter, follow them. Take pictures of your coffees, post those on there for them.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is all free marketing that helps those companies out that you love to frequent. But once again, we just can't thank you enough for just being here and listening to the show or watching the show.
Yeah,
That definitely
absolutely.
goes
Yeah.
really far to support all of our guests here at the Beef Podcast. So thank y'all for tuning in and stay beefy, my friends.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Awesome.